We are live. We're in a hurry. I'm Andy Andrews. We're happy to have you here on the Blue Plate Special from Orange Beach, Alabama. Beautiful downtown Orange Beach, located here at Wisdom Harbor Studios at the Wharf, home of the famous escalator statues. We have people in the studio today. We're so glad y'all are here. And we got people walking around and everything. There's more people coming in the door. Hey, well, this is going to be a special show. I'm just telling you, it's going to be a special show because I have something to say. I mean, I know that's different from usual shows when it might just seem like I have something to say, where you might just suspect that I might have something to say and wish that I would go ahead and say it. But today, I really have something to say. I guess one thing that I would like to say to my local area is I would ask that everybody to remember that you drive on the right side of the road. Okay, we're America here, and we drive on the right side of the road. The other night, I was going home, and there were like headlights in my face, and I realized that this person is coming up the highway on the wrong side of the road. And I managed not to die or to get hit. And then yesterday morning, I'm driving into the studio, and I'm driving over Perdido Pass Bridge, which is divided by this, there's two lanes on each side, and it's divided by this huge barrier. I mean, you can't get over it. And halfway up the bridge, the police have somebody stopped that has gone up the wrong side of the bridge. So, just a reminder to drive on the right side of the road. And even if you are driving on the right side of the road, watch for people driving on the wrong side. All right. Hey, the shirt is from $100 Lifestyles, the cornerstone here of the Wharf. We're always very appreciative of $100 for providing our clothing here for the Blue Plate Special. Remember how on Let's Make a Deal, they would say Monty Hall's wardrobe provided by Botany 500. I don't even know what Botany 500 is, but if you remember that, that's what we're going for here. Andy Andrews wardrobe provided by $100 Lifestyles. So they have tons of t-shirts, and they're great t-shirts. Hey, Irene Robinson, how are you doing? And how is the leisure life now? Hannah Gadledge, bless me for my cough. Did you notice, did I cough? I guess I coughed when we started, didn't we? Didn't I? Did I cough?
You must have. I don't remember it.
You know, that is an amazing thing because 2 years ago, you could be walking outside and somebody's car alarm could be going off, and it could just be blasting the atmosphere, and nobody would even look. I mean, people just walk, they'd just totally ignore it. Now, you can be in a parking lot and go, and people go, what is the deal? Barbara Gingrich from Overland Park, Kansas. Deanna Kilpatrick, hey, you shared. Thank you for sharing. Please, Margaret Hawk from Northeast Mississippi. Marcia Crosser Taylor, you have sunshine today. Wow, it's up to 35 degrees there. So you love the professional noticer this morning. I appreciate you saying something about that. The podcast, it drops on Tuesday mornings, and this week it was Jack Nicholas II, and great interview with Jack. What a great guy. And he has written a book called Best Seat in the House, and it's about caddying for his father, which I guess he did have the best seat in the house. Nancy Aselli, where are you from? Where are you from? Oh, from Monte Vista, Colorado. I bet it's cold there. Linda Rogers Coleman from Central Texas. Now, in studio, we're our Howard and Jane from Florence, Alabama. All right. That's up near, that's Helen Keller's area. Yeah. Okay, Tuscumbia, I guess. Yeah. It's right there. But that's a pretty area with that lake. Oh, my gosh. Ken and Linda from Wisconsin. We're glad to have you guys here. And aren't you glad to be somewhere where it's above zero? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jimmy and Margaret from St. Peters, Missouri. Hey, you guys. Is St. Peters anywhere near Reed Springs? No? Okay. I've got good buddies in Reed Springs. The Woods family, Dr. Grant Woods. He's the guy that does Growing Deer TV. Then Rose from Davenport, Iowa. All right. All right. Dorothy and Sandy from Farmington, Minnesota. Now, I'm curious. You Wisconsin and Minnesota people, do you guys go swimming at the beach now? I mean, it's like 60 degrees here. No, it's still too cold for. I mean, we think when we see people out there swimming in the wintertime, we think, who is that? They must be from Minnesota. They must be from Wisconsin. So, but there's even perspective in the weather from Minnesota and Wisconsin. I always look, I keep on my phone the weather from Dead Horse, Alaska, because when you look and it's 10 degrees in Wisconsin, you can look and it'll be like minus 36 in Dead Horse. And so, yeah, it's always colder somewhere else. Oh, yeah, James Moore says, but officer, I was only going one way. Yeah. Serena Stella Garner from Ferndale, Arkansas. Yeah, you're prepping for winter weather this week. Man, a lot of you guys had some real bad winter weather. Becky Ottenberry from West Monroe, Louisiana. And Christy Woods, my sister. And she shared. Thank you, Christy. Sandy Wilson. Hey, Andy. Hey, Sandy. Nadine Sanders Roberts, good afternoon to you. And the Levine Boys Christmas Caroling Adventures, good afternoon to you guys. Michelle Cromus, Calm Before the Storm. Yeah, I know for a lot of places it is. Hey, did you see the professional noticer that had Ben Raines? My guess was Ben Raines. And he is the author of this new book from Simon & Schuster that just came out. It's called The Last Slave Ship. And Ben is the guy who found Clotilda, which was the last slave ship, or the last ship to deliver slaves into America. And that was years, hey, Gene McDonald, and that was years after slavery was the importation of slaves was stopped. Slavery, this was before the Civil War, but the importation of slaves had been outlawed. And I think if I'm right on this, it was in 1860, a year before the Civil War started. And there was a bet, and a guy sent a ship to Africa, and it's the whole story about how it happened. And so for 160 years, everybody has known that they hid that ship, that they burned it and sunk it. They burned it to the waterline and sunk it, and nobody has been able to find it. And Ben Raines found it. Took a year for the fine to be verified, but he has done extensive research on this. And the book is not necessarily what you would expect in a book like this, because with a book like this, you would kind of expect that it would be how horrible the story is, and then you would expect the book to end with, see how bad it was, and you see how that's why everybody feels so bad and so horrible. I mean, that's just the way books like that usually end. And this one, the subtitle of this book, this is The Last Slave Ship, the true story of how Clotilda was found, her descendants, and an extraordinary reckoning. And Ben has talked to the descendants of those people, to the descendants of the captain of the ship. And the ending of this book, I think this is a very important book for today's world, because this book actually has an answer to a lot of the challenges that America is facing today. So I cannot recommend this enough. Polly read the book. I listened to it on Audible, and I can't recommend it enough. It's The Last Slave Ship by Ben Raines. And if you want to see Ben, just go into the archives of The Professional Noticer and watch that podcast. It was one of the best we've had. And if you're not getting The Professional Noticer, I would really urge you to subscribe. I mean, all you have to do is to go on andyandrews.com/VIP and then put your email address in there, and the podcast will just regularly come in to you on Tuesday morning. Okay, so now I got something very serious to talk to you about today. It's very interesting and it's very serious. And honestly, this may be the last Blue Plate special that we are able to do on social media. All right. Now, as you know, these Blue Plate specials are being moved to wisdomharbor.com. That's wisdom, HARBOUR.com. And the Thursday episode of this show will be exclusively on wisdomharbor.com. And we were for a while going to put these on Tuesdays on social media and then on Thursdays on wisdomharbor.com. And we're still kind of planning on that. But after I tell you what I tell you on this platform, this might be the last time we get to do it on this platform. I want to explain a little bit about social media and how this works. As you know, there are a lot of businesses in America that rely on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I mean, those are the four. There are some others being added and all, but those are the main four. I mean, there's TikTok, of course, and then there's Getter and Rumble, and there's some others. But those four are the main ones. And there are several million businesses that rely on these platforms, not just to promote their businesses, but in some cases to do their businesses, right? I mean, Facebook they have a store that you can put your products in. And so, this several years ago, as this started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and people started understanding that they could run their businesses and promote their businesses this way, it tilted in a huge way toward almost exclusively doing it this way. And whereas people had in the past been marketing through emails or any other traditional form of marketing, they just kind of went whole deal into Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and so it made sense because you thought, oh, wow, this is like a public place where everybody gathers, and if I have something to say, everybody can hear me. And so the mantra for entertainers, for authors, for singers, for people who had little stores, people who were trying to have a business from their home, the mantra became build your numbers. Build your numbers on social media. And what you have on social media, that is your audience. And so I did the same thing. I did that, and I don't have, tons. I think total Little M, we have probably 250,000 followers, give or take some, on all those platforms, and so I began to get frustrated a couple of years ago because I would look and I would go, how do I have almost 200,000 people on Facebook, and then I post something and only 4,000 see it? I'm like, am I just that boring? And this happened over and over and over again, and occasionally something would hit, and it would get a lot of views, but for the most part it was like 4 or 5 or 6, maybe 7,000, and that's with like 200,000. And I'm thinking, man, I didn't just arbitrarily put these people on my Facebook. I mean, these people actually said, yes, we want to hear from Andy. Yes, we want to follow Andy. And so they're just, what did I do? Did they just all of a sudden have quit being interested in what I'm doing? Or and so, I'm not a technical person, right? And so I had to be told what was going on. And what was going on was the social media had allowed people to get big audiences now, and it's like a pipe that was running in a faucet, and the faucet was running wide open. And so now, after they have allowed people to gather all these audiences, they start turning the faucet off. And they will turn it back on for you if you pay them. Okay? I mean, if, and so they will choke it down to like 10%, where, somebody built the numbers, somebody built the audience, but you can't get to your own audience. You can't talk to your own audience. You can if you pay them, and it costs a lot. I mean, you're having to pay for everything you do. So people kind of adjusted to that a little bit, even though they keep increasing their prices because they've become the only game in town. And it's almost like, okay, you want to do it somewhere else, go do it somewhere else. But you can't, I mean, people have put their entire years into building an audience this way. And I have no idea what what people think from the other end. The other end where you go, well, gosh, we signed up to hear about Sugarcane Jane. I mean, we follow Sugarcane Jane and we signed up to get their stuff, and we're not ever getting it. I mean, what do they think? Did they think Sugarcane Jane is just not posting anything? I don't know. But it's an odd situation. And then the censorship thing has come into play. And it's one thing to be forced to pay to reach your own audience. I mean, it's almost like, I know people buy mailing lists and people sell mailing lists. We don't, but I know that happens. And so I guess in a way it's like paying somebody to be able to contact your own mailing list, because people will say, well, look, I said a few minutes ago, I have almost 200,000 people on Facebook. I don't have anybody on Facebook. Facebook owns my list. I don't have them. And so then that's one thing. But then they became so powerful. They have become so powerful that what used to be an open forum, I mean, you used to be able to say what you want to say. Now, that's been my gripe about social media, because I think it's brought about a lot of antagonistic types of conversations. I think, people can get on there and yay at each other and do it behind the anonymity of a social media account. And I think there's a lot of arguments that have happened in just a mean way that wouldn't have happened before this. But then something happened and we have turned a corner where now they're not just closing the faucet if you don't pay them. They're closing the faucet if they disagree with you. This has happened in history before. Now, as you know, we have created wisdomharbor.com. That's wisdom, HARBOUR.com. It's a learning and entertainment site. It's for parents, families, young adults, businesses, teachers, students, little kids, and we've got captains that deliver this content. We've got people that are Grammy winners, comedians, CEOs. We've got master chefs. We've got best-selling authors. We've got a Hall of Fame speaker, not me. And so all these people are delivering this content. And this site that we have created is, we have priced it at such a place that we think we can survive. The pricing starts at $2.99 a month. And and then there's a discount for the yearly subscription from that. And so we've priced it in a way where there are things on there that people will go, I got my $2.99 worth right there. We've got a songwriter who has written 14 number one songs, who has written the CMA Song of the Year, the ACM Song of the Year. He's won another genre's Song of the Year. And Jimmy Yeary, he wrote "I Drive Your Truck." He wrote "I Called Mama" for, for Tim McGraw. But he's teaching guitar lessons. All right, now don't hop off. Okay, don't hop off. I'll talk to you more about Wisdom Harbor after I tell you what I'm about to tell you. So don't leave. So we've got this new site, and we had several people do endorsements for us. One of them was Dave Ramsey. Dave very graciously did an endorsement for Wisdom Harbor. Okay, Matt, can we play that? Now watch this. Very short.
Wisdom Harbor educates and empowers you and your team. Sign up today at wisdomharbor.com. That's HARBOUR.com.
Okay, so that's what Dave did for us. And we put it out. And this is how we targeted it. Okay, so we had to pay to put that out. And it said, who do you want to see this? Because you pay according to who sees it. We wanted to, we targeted people who read, people who listen to talk radio, people who are into finances, employers, financial services, financial advisors, parenting, learning, entrepreneurs, business, radio, broadcasting people, and websites. And so that's how we put it out. Well, Facebook and Instagram, which is they're owned by the same company, and this is where we put it out, they rejected it. They wouldn't take it. And when we asked why, they said because it violated their policy against discriminatory practices. Okay, now, so they're saying that what Dave said violates their policy against discriminatory practices. Could we play just the Dave part again? We don't need the music part, but just play the Dave part again. Now, listen for discriminatory practices here.
Wisdom Harbor educates and empowers you and your team. Sign up today at wisdomharbor.com. That's HARBOUR.com.
Okay, so they rejected. So we put it. We just tried again. They rejected it again for the same reason. We asked them to explain, and their answer was this: ads must not discriminate or encourage discrimination against people based on personal attributes such as race, ethnicity, color, national origin, religion, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, family status, disability, medical, or genetic condition. Facebook prohibits advertisers from using our ads products to discriminate against people. This means that advertisers may not use our audience selection tools to wrongly target specific groups of people for advertising. I mean, they're the ones that offer the different groups to target, and I don't know how we are wrongly targeting. The advertiser may not wrongfully exclude specific groups of people from seeing their ads. I don't think we're the ones excluding anybody from seeing their ads. The advertiser may not include discriminatory content in their ads. Advertisers are also required to comply with applicable laws that prohibit discrimination. These include laws that prohibit discriminating against groups of people in connection with offers of housing, employment, and credit. Okay, can you play the Dave one? Just the Dave one, just one more quick time, knowing what they have rejected this ad for. I want just let's see this one more time.
Wisdom Harbor educates and empowers you and your team. Sign up today at wisdomharbor.com. That's HARBOUR.com.
So we ran a little test because we could not figure out anything that was discriminatory about what he said. We couldn't figure out anything that discriminated against anybody. So I recorded the same thing. Could we play that one, Matt?
WisdomHarbor.com educates and empowers you and your team. Sign up today at WisdomHarbor.com. That's Wisdom, HARBOUR.com.
And we put that out there with the same advertising selection, and it was accepted. This is not the words. It's Dave. They're targeting Dave. So whatever Dave has done in helping hundreds of thousands of people become debt-free, and whatever Dave has said about his faith, they're not having him. Now, that's a big guy, and I'm sure Dave can handle whatever little bit of financial fallout that might cause him. But let me tell you another quick story. Sugarcane Jane, you know the music when we first came on the air, you heard that music? That's Sugarcane Jane that wrote and performed that music, okay? This, Sugarcane Jane, it sounds like a really cool name, and it is. Sounds like a big group, and they are, but we know Anthony and Savannah. This is a mom and a dad, okay? And their entire living is made as Sugarcane Jane. They have 3 kids, 3 little school-age kids, and they make their living by playing around here and up the highway in different places in the country when they can get the dates. Okay, well, sure. Several months ago, Sugarcane Jane posted a picture on their Facebook account of Ron Paul with one of his quotes underneath it. This guy was a senator or a congressman, but I mean, you know who he is. I mean, this is a national figure, and they posted a picture of him and a quote. Facebook took action against this immediately. Now, Sugarcane Jane cannot do any post advertising their own shows. Facebook won't allow any business pages to tag Sugarcane Jane in their posts. No business or concert promoter can do any ads mentioning Sugarcane Jane in their posts. They are only allowed to live stream to 10% of their own followers. And get this, you know those little stars you see on Facebook? Okay, when somebody gets stars, Facebook stars are worth 1 cent per star. When somebody has a public account, it pays 1 cent, 1 penny for a star. Facebook is keeping the money that they make from the stars on Sugarcane Jane's live stream. They're not paying it to them. And they have made it where Sugarcane Jane cannot disable the stars. So be aware that Linda Rogers Coleman says, "My Lord, how can this be legal?" Look, it doesn't really matter. You know, I mean, you've got to understand the justice system in our country today. And the justice system in our country today is who has the money is who wins. I mean, you can sue somebody for not liking ham sandwiches. Now, it'll get thrown out of court, but that person that you sued for not liking ham sandwiches is going to have to pay a lawyer to get it thrown out of court. And so, if you have enough money, you can bludgeon people out of business. You know, now here is, and I'm almost through here, but I just want to give you a reality about the censorship that is going on now. Okay, we used to live in a world where there was a public conversation. And when somebody said something stupid, we just went, "Oh, well, you know, that's stupid." And there was no way somebody could gang up against us. Because the Constitution guaranteed freedom of speech, and as we have seen with some horrific things that the Supreme Court has supported, freedom of speech includes a lot of stuff that we disagree with, and freedom of speech protects a lot of things that we would rather not be shown or not see or not hear. But it's freedom of speech. Now, with these social media sites, not only shutting down anything Dave Ramsey says, shutting down anything Sugarcane Jane believes, not only shutting them down, they're choosing what to shut down. Okay, because it's not just choosing the people, they're choosing what can be said, which means that the public discourse is the faucet's being closed. And you know, you can only make decisions according to the information you have. And if you don't get all the information, you can't make your own decision. I mean, we live in a country that is supposed to have freedom, which means you're free to do something stupid. I mean, you're free to do what you feel is best for you and for your family. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick example here. 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID. 8 months ago, if you said that, you would have been removed from social media. They would have banned you from these platforms. Now, that's accepted as fact. I mean, everybody knows now that you can get vaccinated and you can still catch COVID and you can still carry it. It's true now, which means it was true then. Which begs the question, what is being shuttered? What is being banned? What are we not allowed to hear from Dave Ramsey that is true? There's no end to this today. It's just a direction. It's a direction just to be aware of. But I do want to ask you guys, because obviously we are in this too, and I'm very aware that wisdomharbor.com, there's a reason that we created this. There's a reason that we want to have people be able to hear it. And traditional advertising is not going to help us. And we need you. If you like it, if you're enjoying it, and we're hearing great things about it, and so if you are enjoying it, if you're liking it, we would really appreciate you just spreading the word. Put the mojo on your buddies, and have them join us and join you. There's so many things there that a family can watch or listen to for 5 minutes and then have dinner, and there's the conversation for dinner right there. Something they didn't know, something new. And I really appreciate you guys. I see your names come up, and those of you who are allowed to get through. But I can't tell you how much I appreciate partnering in this whole thing with you. And we will see you Thursday, and it'll be on wisdomharbor.com. That's wisdom, HARBOUR.com. Bye-bye.